All right, so it's likely to happen this weekend. If Dillon Gabriel doesn't get out of concussion protocol, Shedeur Sanders is going to make his first start for the Cleveland Browns in Vegas against the Raiders on CBS at just after 4 Eastern time. Assuming he gets all the first team reps this week in practice, what kind of difference do you think that can make compared to the first time we saw him out there when he went 4 of 16 in relief?
I think it's a good place to start for a guy like Shedeur Sanders. Having an opportunity to be in the huddle with the guys that you will be playing with is a huge deal. I mean, as an offensive lineman, I want to hear how Shedeur is going to do the play call. I want to hear how Shedeur handles maybe some 2-minute situations, which they'll get into situationally during the week. All this stuff benefits a guy like Shedeur Sanders. Not only that, who you're throwing the football to, who you're handing the football off to, who you're dumping it off to in the screen game, all that stuff is replicated in the week when you're the starter. You get to have that sense of comfort with your guys. And I think for Shedeur, it'll pay dividends if he does get the opportunity to play against the Raiders. And in addition to that, I think about the guys who have come in to start for the Cleveland Browns since like 1999. They're 0-17 guys making their first start for the Browns. What better way for Shedeur to get his honest-to-goodness first start than against this Raiders team who has really struggled?
Yeah, do you think this is a good spot for a quarterback to be making their first start? I mean, I'm thinking of Max Crosby chasing him all over the field, but outside of him...
Well, if you're a young player, you look at Max Crosby one of two ways. Oh, my God, the sky is falling. We're all in trouble. Max Crosby's over there. Or Shedeur Sanders, with the confidence that he has, he can look at Max Crosby and say, that is a pelt I would like to have on my wall as a young quarterback. So if you're part of that Cleveland Browns team, if you firmly believe that Shedeur Sanders will be the thing that gets you over the hump as a football team, you know that quarterback's so important, you're going to do everything in your power to not let Max Crosby have the impact that you and I have seen him have in games.
What have you seen from Shedeur Sanders to this point to make you think that there's a chance he could be the franchise guy for Cleveland?
Well, it's tough for me to stamp somebody as a franchise guy after the first action I've seen him in. But one thing that indicates to me that Shedeur is learning and understanding what being in a locker room is like, what being an equal is like in the National Football League. That's what you are. There's only 1 or 2 guys maybe in every locker room that are truly above the other guys. And Myles Garrett is the one in Cleveland. It ain't Shedeur yet. So he's got an opportunity to go prove himself. I think the important thing is earning the respect of his teammates. Look, he's not on the best team in the league, but you can go out there and compete, go get a win against this Raiders team, and that's how you can start to build momentum. But the thing that stands out to me, his willingness to be accountable at the podium is something that stood out to me. It's almost polar opposite from what we've seen from him in the media before. You know, people have said he's immature. He lacks awareness. Well, I think he's done a better job of that, and I think that people don't understand the amount of pressure a guy like Shedeur Sanders is under now and has been his entire life as an athlete.
Well, let's go there because, I mean, it's a similar situation to the one that you had, a Hall of Fame father who was in the NFL having to live up to the last name on your jersey. I know you weren't a quarterback, but an offensive lineman. You had to deal with some of these same issues. What are some of those things that maybe we don't necessarily think about?
Well, they know your name before they know you as a player or a person. So people have these preconceived notions about who you are. And I fell guilty to that when covering Shedeur Sanders early on in the process of going from college to the NFL. And I had my gripes about some of the things that he did. I remember in college he had made some comments about his offensive line. It didn't sit well with me. But fast forward a few years later now, and we've seen the maturation process. I'll say this. When you are the son of a Hall of Famer, when you have an older brother that was a top pick, the expectations are sky high for you, and you have to meet those every single day. They're not looking at you under the same microscope they're looking at the other 52 guys, and they're saying that name on the back of your jersey means something. You have to prove it quickly, or we'll find somebody else to replace you. And to your point, I never played quarterback. As an offensive lineman, my job was simple. Go kick somebody's ass. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. Go kick somebody's ass. But the quarterback, you're the leader. You're the 1 of 53 guy. You need to be exemplary in everything you do, and I think Shedeur is starting to figure that out.
Let's go back to something we talked about at the start, and that he hadn't had that work with the ones going into the last game. Is that normal? You were on teams where a guy was a third-string quarterback, and then a week later he's pushed into action. Is it normal for somebody to not have really any action with first string?
It is normal in a normal week. What I mean by normal week is there's no injuries at the quarterback position. The starter is healthy. The backup is healthy. Those are the two guys you work with. I'd say it's probably 95% with the number one guy. So in my case, I worked with Jay Cutler 95% of the time. 5% would be Josh McCown coming in certain situations to get him comfortable with the verbiage and get everybody hearing the play call from him. But if you have a third string guy, you're not going to get, as a starter, you're not going to get the opportunity to block for him. Unless there's an injury to the first string guy, everybody bumps up. But oftentimes, we don't get the luxury of having time and having the foresight to say, well, we need to get Shedeur more reps. This week, against the Raiders, the Browns have that luxury.
Why does it matter if you haven't heard a guy's voice in a huddle or maybe you haven't seen his face? Why isn't it as simple as just giving you the play call and going out and executing?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's mostly just comfort. Having, the emotional visual cues that, you can see the quarterback get the play call. You can see him communicating with the coach, and then you can see him confidently take that information, internalize it, and then be able to turn and present it to the crew. And there's some guys that when the play call comes out, it's like, oh hell, we're about to go get 15 yards, or man, he kind of stuttered through that ex-Reno Z Detroit right there. I don't think he fully knows that. So that's why it's important, because repetition matters. You don't want to be out there playing telephone. You want the play call, you want a clear message, and you want to go execute.
We saw the Dallas Cowboys completely light up this Vegas defense on Monday Night Football. Cowboys have much different weapons than the Cleveland Browns do offensively. What kind of spot do you think he is in to have success in his first game?
Well, I think the fact that the Cleveland Browns can run the football pretty effectively will help out Sheduer Sanders a great deal, and it will take the pressure, the onus off of him a bit. And if they do have success running the football, then we can get to some of that play-action game. Then we can play on time offensively and give Shedeur the opportunity to stretch the football down the field.
What do you want to see from him? Let's just say you're on that offensive line. What do you want to see from him in this first start that would make you a believer in your teammate?
I want to see Shedeur not bail out of the structure of the offense. I want to see him stay in the eye of the storm, in the pocket, and deliver the ball on time and in rhythm with the offense. And also, I want to see him not taking hits, okay? Because if you've got your backup, your third string quarterback in there, what's next? The punter's coming in to play quarterback? Let's stay healthy. Let's deliver the football on time, and no turnovers is a good place to start.
And maybe a better stat line than his first game, 4 for 16, 47 yards, and an interception against the Ravens, but that was in spot duty for Dillon Gabriel, who's in concussion protocol, and we expect to see Shedeur Sanders out there this week on CBS, 4:05 Eastern Time in Vegas.